Welcome you all for a critical analysis of Mark Schorer from Technicus Discovery. Mark Schorer. Mark Schorer was an American writer, critic and scholar, a leading critic of his time. He was best known for his works like Sinclair Lewis, An American Life, and Colonel Moxon and Less Pleasant People. In addition to his scholarly works, he was also the author of many short stories, science fiction, and horror stories. Published in 1948, the critical essay Technicus Discovery is considered as a significant contribution to new criticism. New criticism? Yes. What is meant by new criticism? New criticism emphasizes close reading and attention of texts, especially poetry. They exclude the author's intention, historical, biographical, and cultural context. So what they include? They include formal elements such as rhyme, meter, setting to identify the theme of the text. They also look for paradox, ambiguity, irony, and tension to establish the interpretation of the text. Thus, the essay Technicus Discovery analyzes close reading of text and focuses on literature's inherent features. What is meant by technique according to Schorer? Technique is the author's deliberate use of language to convey meaning or heighten meaning. The term technique refers to author's writing style, which incorporates artistic performances like inclusion of literary devices, special diction, and unique sentence formation. According to Mark Schorer, technique is of primary importance more than the content. Content here it means pleasure or happiness in state of comfort. This means giving importance to the use of literary devices, diction, and unique sentence formation are very important than giving importance to the content of any text. For Schorer, technique enables writer to discover greater subject matter and meaning. Mark Schorer applies or defends or supports the principles of new criticism for the study of fiction. Schorer focuses on the structural and linguistic techniques used in a novel instead of the vision of the novelist. H.G.Wells and his artistic failure. According to Mark Schorer, H.G.Wells failed as a novelist because he had no respect for the techniques or the literary forms he used in his medium novel. Who is H.G.Wells? H.G.Wells was one of the most prolific, popular, and varied writers of the early 20th century. He produced many bestsellers from science fiction to utopian novels. According to Schorer, H.G.Wells had no respect for the techniques and he did not produce good novels. But rather he dealt with important topics in life that is of no use for Schorer. H.G.Wells in his semi-autobiographical novel Bungay, published in 1909, attempted to portray modern British social history but failed terribly because he lacked craftsmanship and neglected virtues of technique. Craftsmanship in the sense skill and mastery over language. So H.G.Wells lacked the mastery over his language. According to Schorer, Wells reveals only his entire social analysis of the novel through the protagonist George, but he fails as a thinker. Eventually, Wells ends up producing only a hypothesis in the sense a solution to a problem, but he fails to produce a good novel. The technical failure of Sons and Lovers. Mark Schorer then analyzes H.Lawrence's novel Sons and Lovers and exposes its limitations. We all know Sons and Lovers is the masterpiece of H.Lawrence, published in 1913. H.Lawrence believed in the therapeutic function of the novel. What is meant by therapeutic function? It is related to healing of disease. So, according to Lawrence, writing provides an outlet or opening for one's sicknesses and emotions. But for Schorer, the sickness was not healed in the novel. The emotion was not mastered, and altogether the novel was not perfected. Schorer states that Lawrence's theory is acceptable only if technique is imperative or compulsory. The masterpiece, Sons and Lovers, failed for Schorer because of Lawrence's mishandling of technical resources. How Lawrence had mishandled? Let's see. Sons and Lovers deals with the consequences of relationship that the protagonist Paul had with his mother Gertrude and his confusions about the relationship he has with two young women. We all know that, right? Who are the two women characters whom the protagonist Paul had confused relationship? Yes, Clara Dawes and Miriam. According to Schorer, Lawrence's characterization, expression of moral epithets, general texture of prose style and point of view proved to be confusing and deficient. Deficient in the sense not having enough specified quality. The psychological tension among characters disrupts the form of the novel Sons and Lovers and obscures its meaning. Lawrence merely repeats his emotions and avoids an austere technical scrutiny of his material. Schorer concludes that Sons and Lovers is a technical failure because it lacks artistic coherence. According to Schorer, James Joyce has made a brilliant technical operation in fiction. We all know about James Joyce, right? An Irish novelist and literary critic. He is one of the most influential and important writers of the 20th century. He is well known for his landmark novel Ulysses, published in 1922, and novels like A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man and Finnegan's Wake. Schorer analyzes James Joyce's novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man and comments that the novel defines the value and the quality of his experience by the texture of the style. What is the theme of the novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man? It is about a young artist's alienation from his environment. So, according to Schorer, the theme of the novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man is effectively explored and evaluated through different styles like stream of consciousness as the protagonist Stephen Dedalus moves from childhood through boyhood into maturity. A highly self-conscious use of style defines and evaluates the quality of experience, making the novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man a grand success. James Joyce's another novel, Ulysses, is also read with more satisfaction because its author, James Joyce, held an attitude towards the technical scrutiny of subject matter. This enabled the novelist to order the greatest amount of experience within a single work and with superb coherence. No doubt, Schorer's critical essay, Technique as Discovery, is a significant contribution to new criticism as it gives importance to the close reading of fiction. Thank you.